Would you believe me if I told you that the most isolated base in the history of Elite Anarchy has been destroyed just after barely 2 months of standing strong? At the farthest reached point in the loneliest dimension in Minecraft, a base by the name of Space Shire, founded by Ushear, has stood as a monument to what, at the time, was the furthest that anybody in the history of the server has ever traveled in the End Realm. At least, that was until Ushear broke his own record by making another great journey to the corner of the End Dimension. However, today's video is not about the grand achievements accomplished by Ushear, rather the base that was erected as a result of these achievements. Today we will be covering a variety of topics surrounding Space Shire, such as how it was founded, who was involved, and ultimately what events led to its demise. Believe me when I say that this story is crazy. Also, if you could take a moment to check if you are subscribed, it would really help this channel out a ton. I know that hearing this all the time is a pain, but you can't necessarily understand why creators do this until you put time into being one. But anyways, let us get into the video. I have gone over the founding of the Space Shire base in my previous video discussing Ushear's monumental journey to the End border, but for the purpose of this video, I think it is necessary to go over a quick recap over the events that led to the creation of this base. The events leading up to where we are now were initially kicked off by the griefing of Ushear's old world border base, Skid and Pump. Skid and Pump base was essentially a large, open base surrounded in glass decorated with many pixel arts. Many players were involved in this base, including myself, up until it was unfortunately griefed by an unknown player. The short-lived legacy of Skid and Pump had fallen. After the loss of Skid and Pump, Ushear came to me with the idea of making the long and grueling journey to the End border and asked if he could use Mariana Fort as a place to store all of the necessary resources for his travels. I agreed, and Ushear was off to start a brand new legacy, isolated from all aspects of Elite Anarchy life. Or so he thought. After eventually making it to the End border, Ushear wasted no time in beginning the initial construction of Space Shire, which was originally inspired off a similar concept created by a notorious 2B2T player named Jack the Ripper, which many of you would recognize as Space Valkyria 3, an enormous space station-inspired build which was originally meant to be constructed entirely on 2B2T. However, this would not come to light as the base unfortunately met its demise in early 2019. As a builder, it is a pain to see such an amazingly sculpted project come to such a terrible end. However, at the end of the day, it is Anarchy, and you have to have a sandcastle mentality when undergoing major builds. Everything you create may eventually be washed away by the tide of destruction. And Space Shire was no different. Over the course of a month after the founding of the base, the main space station was complete, and Ushear had begun to invite others to partake in the base and to add their own contributions to the overall build. The players who were involved in Space Shire were Collared Meat, Fred Bob, Pyro Pigeon, Torsi, myself, Javakia, and 2 server administrators by the name of Gappy and Idankin. Ushear had also considered letting a player by the name of Not for Info partake in the base, however the life of Space Shire would unfortunately be cut tragically short. Now, what may be piquing your curiosity is how on earth the base located at the farthest traveled point in the history of Elite Anarchy had managed to get griefed. Was it the numerous players that he invited to the base? Well, that answer is not too far off from the truth, but is not the case. You see, as time went on, one of the players involved in Space Shire by the name of Fred Bob began to act very suspicious. According to Ushear, Fred Bob would go around claiming that he had built Space Shire, when in reality all he'd done was simply set his home at the place. The abysmal behavior of Fred Bob did not stop there, however. It grew to the point where he would teleport random people to the base, and when Ushear confronted him about it and requested that he remove his home from the place, he refused. So Ushear, tired of dealing with Fred Bob's behavior, made the difficult decision to grieve Space Shire, as any builder should. It is best to see your own creation to fall at your own hands rather than the hands of another. I mentioned previously that Ushear had previously undertaken a voyage to the corner border, so after the fall of Space Shire, he decided to move to the corner in order to make an even more impressive base, but you will have to wait to see what he has planned. But, with that, we have reached the end of the video. Thank you all so very much for watching, and I will catch all of you next time.